Hello. I have a flyaway hair thing going on there. Let's just tuck that down. I'm an alfalfa today.
Right, it gets a mind of its own, doesn't it?
Surely does. Holy crow.
Yes.
So welcome.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's
Wednesday.
I'm like, I don't know what date it is. I literally have to look it up every morning
you've
because
been
I've been
gone,
all over the place.
And you're about to be gone again.
Yes, but at least I don't have to change time zones this time. So that's a plus.
I mean, actually, you're going to Central.
Is that it is an hour there?
Yeah.
It is an hour there. So it's the same.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Sorry.
But that's okay.
I didn't mean to.
It's okay. We're driving, so there'll be a long time to adjust.
Yeah.
That quick flight, you're like, what time is it?
How is it the same time as it
How
was
is
when I
it?
left?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Some craziness happening around here, but there are a lot of exciting things happening around here. There are some great new machines, some great new feet, and some fun to be had. So
much fun.
It looks like our first delivery should be coming in hopefully by the end of this week, but definitely by the beginning of next. And we will have some new things to share.
No new top of the line combo machine, but we knew that because we have the Avenir and the Radiance. If you haven't done the latest update on your Radiance in Avenir, do it. If you have trouble or you don't remember how to do that, call us.
Just give us a buzz. We do still recommend, because this is a very large update, we absolutely recommend, actually we're telling you, do not do it. Do not do Wi-Fi. Do it by USB, just to make sure.
Yep, and take your mouse,
and
your wireless.
It should be the only USB of any sort in your machine. So if you have a
wireless mouse out.
A little dongle thing for a mouse, take that out before you do the update.
Yep. We've had a few instances, enough instances for us to be like, I think that's probably a good idea.
It's just good habit to be in, so that way it's not looking anywhere other than right where it's supposed to.
Right.
Because that's what it does. When you tell it to do an update by USB, it goes and looks at the USB ports. And if there's more than one thing there, it can confuse the software parts.
And computers are supposed to be so smart.
They are, but sometimes we have to outsmart them. And this is one of those little things that we recommend. So,
but we do have a new top of the line sewing only machine.
It is beautiful. It sews so wonderfully. It's quiet.
Got a stitch regulator.
It does. So it has that new ISR foot that we first got to see on the Avenir and the Radiance. And I got to play with it. It works the same way. It's the same basic foot. There's no projection on this machine, but it still beeps at you and tells you when you're doing something wrong. Guess how I know? Me, the wonderful free motion quilter. But yeah, I did get to play with it, and it's a beautiful machine. I love the new foot of the adjustable piping zipper foot. So great. They did such a nice job with that.
Yep. We don't have that yet, so we can't show it to you.
I believe it's coming on that. I think those, even the accessories I ordered, I believe are coming with our machines. So
very, very soon. So we're excited. A new embroidery machine, a new 10 needle machine. That's very similar but new. Has a couple of new features to it.
It has some new features. A lot of new quilting things that were added into the design center. So they really caught that up to what we've had in the other machines. So lots of great stuff there. And they added the puffy font in there. So
which we got on the single needle.
There's tons of fonts, but this particular font was previously only available on the PRX1 or the Capella. So they've added it to the new 10 needle, which I got to play with that too. It's just so easy. I mean, it's programmed for it. You don't have to do anything. You throw your foam down, it stitches, you pull your foam off, you keep going.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Totally. Absolutely.
So cool.
So cool. So yeah, we have fun new brother and baby lock stuff coming. So we should have something in our hands by next week for sure.
Yes.
And Lisa will be off to Baby Lock Tech next week.
Yes, we start Saturday. So learning good things, hopefully. And there are some new things coming from Baby Lock that are different than what we have from Brother. Some things are equivalency and some things are different because of the sergers and accessories and things that go with that. So there's always minor things that are going to be different from one brand to the next, and this year is no different from that. So we'll get to see and play with those new things. And I've already placed an order for those machines as well. So that should be here before we know it.
Yes.
And then we'll have to figure out where to put everything.
Yeah, we have to rearrange everything again, so it'll look like all kinds of different things.
We'll have to play just a little bit to make that all work. So,
Yep.
but it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be really, really fun. So lots of stuff. And
Absolutely.
we're busily working on our retreat stuff. So we should have some new samples to show soon. We've got most of the quilting, the pre-quilting done for you. Just a little bit more to go. And then we're going to start putting the kits together. We're super excited.
They are turning out so good.
Yep.
You know, you pick fabrics and you're like, I hope this is going to look like we want it to look when we're done. I think it looks even better than I think we originally, they came out beautiful. It's really, really looking good.
Yeah,
so
super excited.
Very excited. If you've been thinking about signing up, don't wait too long. We want to make sure that you get a spot in there. So we are a month from tomorrow. So it's coming right up.
I know.
Didn't mean to scare you. So sorry.
I know. I still so much to do. Yeah.
So many fun things happening, and it's just all kind of coming together, which is great.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we got a bunch of people on now, so that was a little bit of like house cleaning coming up stuff.
Yes.
On to the stabilizer.
On to it.
All right.
We have samples galore around here. So we promised you our recipes, and Sarah did a great job typing these up. She's kind of made them a little bit easier to read than they were kind of in a weird format and things. So this is really nice. And you've also attached something somewhere.
Yes. So if you go to our website, you can, right on the What's New page, you can find that. But I'm also going to put the link here. So this is a direct link. So if you just copy this link, it will take you right to the download page. When you go on our website and you download something, you do have to like check out, even though you're not paying for anything. That's
but
the
you
only
still
real
don't have
way
to pay
do
for
that.
anything. It'll just
right. It's completely free, and it won't charge you anything. But you have to put in your information because it's a website.
It's the way it works.
Yeah.
Got to put something in there to check out.
But this is a live link to that. So I'll post it a couple of times while we're there. So for people catching up, but that is the actual link. And if, like I said, if you just copy that link, you'll get the download now button, and you'll have all of the PDF file that we're actually going to be sharing with you today. So you won't have to like try to screen trap it.
Oh, that's so much better. Look at that. I can read that now.
Just move that contact around.
I had to
yeah.
push it over. It's just, I think they're just much drier.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right. So,
all right.
Freestanding lace.
It's a shame I don't like lace.
It's terrible.
It's absolutely
so
terrible.
Much. Yeah.
Lace is a wonderful thing, and it is so fun and so easy to make as long as you put the right recipe together.
Yes.
So can you get away with less than this?
Sure. We'll show you what happens when it goes bad.
We'll show you what happens. So yes, you can have less amounts or different amounts and that kind of thing. The great thing about our recipe here is it pretty much is a no fault. It's going to come out perfect every time, no matter what. So one layer of dissolve away mesh and one layer of Badge Master is the recipe to success to make freestanding lace. That can also be badges or anything that's going to stand alone afterwards, not be attached to anything else or that kind of thing. So lots of options in there.
So here, lots of playing around with these.
Lots of buttons
today.
to be had. So these are two samples of basically the same thing. So here is a heart, and here is that same exact file with only one layer of mesh in there. It literally missed the stitches, and so that final satin stitch was not even connected to the main heart. So when we washed it away, the thread just fell off.
Yep.
So seeing that difference between the consistency of that, this is what can happen. So it's not so much that it's going to make different looking stitches. What it does is it doesn't connect the pieces. So that stretches in the hoop so that when it comes back around to make its final piece, it's not in the right spot because the entire design has shifted in the hoop.
Right.
And that's what the Badge Master edition does to that. There's definitely times when Badge Master maybe isn't the absolute, for whatever reason, it's too gummy for you or in that particular project, then you would need to severely multiply out your mesh.
Yeah.
So if anybody's sitting at home, that's all great, well and good, but I'm not using Badge Master, then you need to have multiple layers. And I mean, minimum of probably 3.
Right.
2, they used to say 2. 2 is not enough if it's a large lace. If it's just a tiny little piece, you'll probably be fine with 2.
Yeah.
But it is not going to always work. And that's the
Correct.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
With the Badge Master, it always works.
Yeah.
So make your decisions. It's all good. It's all up to you, of course. We've got a lot of samples here, some trimmed out. So basically, when you go to rinse, you're going to want to trim right up next to your design. And then you can put that in whichever warm or hot or whatever it tells you to do water and rinse those things away. Sometimes lace can have some organza or something like that in there. That's just fine too, no problem. You're going to do the same types of things with that. We didn't really talk about this because it's not stabilizer, but you can make lace with our metallic threads. This is the King Star Metallics. There's 3 colors in each, so there's a medium gold there in the middle. I'm not sure if you can quite tell that in the lighting there, but this is both in my bobbin and in my top thread, and it worked flawlessly.
Yes.
Just rinsed it. I didn't have to fight with it. I didn't have to do anything. No, I always joke, rubbing your belly, patting your head, doing a rain dance and praying that it's going to work.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that.
No, we really love our King Star.
That King Star is really great. So lace this is also a King Star, but there's not multiple colors. So it's not quite as fun to see. It doesn't have quite as much going on in there. And then just standard stuff here. This was done in Dimes lace maker. So it's just a circle that I multiplied out hearts, and then I put a word in the middle. This could be like a candle or
a doily,
whatever you want that to be. This is one of Kimberbell's. So they did a really great thing that actually coordinates into the lace maker. So you can work the two of them together and take the bits and pieces out of Kimberbell lace and make them other pieces. And this is also a Kimberbell. So this is also an example. I'm going to use the edge of this again. That seemed to work pretty well. And you can see where that final satin stitch here didn't line up. So it didn't fall apart as badly as that heart did, but it is absolutely not a solid watermelon over there. There's definitely little holes that you can see in that, which I have to tell you, this whole thing took a couple hours to stitch out. Lace is not generally very quick.
It's super disappointing.
So when you get through all of this and your final outside satin stitch doesn't finish properly, it's just heartbreaking. Because if I were giving this as a gift, I wouldn't give it as a gift. I would literally throw it away or put it in my, I can deal with it at home, but I'm not going to give it to somebody else. So, when you're making lace, you definitely want to make sure that you've got your recipe to success. So this is the way that we would do this in your hoop. So the first thing is putting in your mesh, and then you put in your Badge Master. So I'm going to hold those up so you guys can see. This is crinklier than it would be right out of the package because it's been sitting out. So it's dried out a little bit. So it's a little stiffer and more crisp than it would be coming right out of your package. Just throwing that out there. If somebody's going, wow, that's really, it's not normally quite like that. And then that mesh. And to remind everybody, you can see the little holes, the little circles that are in there. Instead of lines, those circles mean that it's water soluble. And again, one other thing that you do not want to do is accidentally put in the wrong mesh, because that again is heartbreaking and very disappointing when you go to rinse it out.
It does not wash away.
It does not wash out, which is very, very sad. So lots of samples of lace around here to be had. The last thing that we thought we would mention, nothing to do with actual stabilizer, but when you are rinsing lace, you kind of want to set it somewhere. Well, it can be a little sticky still when they're wet. And so you're going to probably want to put them on something. So, so we choose paper towel quite often. And I just wanted to, don't leave them there super long because they can get stuck. So repositioning them, I have actually had to re-wet and pull paper off because I left it on there too long. But see if, so that's what's going to happen. You'll actually get paper towel into that grid. So make sure that, yes, you should rinse them. Yes, you should set them on something, but make sure you move them around don't leave them there forever and ever and ever, and
Yeah.
because this is what you're going to end up with.
Yeah.
So
Those like cookie drying sheet
yeah,
type things
the
that they have like
parchment.
the parchment paper, but also like the little grids,
the racks.
the racks.
Yeah.
They work really well for lace because they don't tend to stick to it. They have a little bit of a coating on them, so it's a nice thing to have if you
Absolutely.
need
For sure.
something that's not paper
So
towel.
there's
Yeah.
different types of cookie racks. Cooling racks, I guess,
Yep.
is more specific. Doesn't have to be cookies. It's
Right,
just what it
just a
always
cooling
is at my
rack, yeah.
house, right?
Yeah.
But there are ones that have lines, and there are ones that have grids.
Yes.
The
The
grid
grid
will
one
work
works
way
better.
better.
Yeah.
So do pay attention to that. If you go home and you have just the older ones that are just metal
Yep.
straight lines and there's no real crossbars to them, I've had lace sink in, and then I get a not flat piece.
Yep.
So if you go home and you're like, those ladies are crazy, that doesn't work very well at all, that's probably why. So just a little.
Jane uses plastic canvas, same concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get the plastic canvas.
For sure. Just something that you can rinse off. Like the paper towel is great, especially in a pinch.
Yep.
Just don't leave them sitting there for hours and hours because they will start to suck up that paper towel right into the lace.
Exactly.
So just throwing that out there.
All right.
Love freestanding lace.
So pillowcase bands. Pillowcase bands this is very similar to multiple different things, but you're going to have your band. You're going to want to put some interfacing on it. Again, we always put interfacing on it when we're doing essentially words on cotton because it helps to prevent.
Tunnel.
Yeah, it helps to prevent there. And then heavy tearaway if it's hoopable, and sticky tearaway if it's not hoopable. So I don't think we have. Do we have a pillowcase band?
Just the pillowcase that's up there. I
That's
think
up
is the
there,
only one
okay.
in store. I'm sorry.
But you can see this sample. Go to this one. There we
This
go.
one has the fusible, which this is easy T.
Yep.
So when we say interfacing, it can be a couple different things. That's certainly the one that we're going to recommend. Do you have anything that you ever use because it's lighter weight or anything different?
No.
Nope.
Easy T is still my absolute favorite.
So, anytime. If you're going to have big satin stitches, having something on that back is going to make a big difference. So the Easy T is really great. It doesn't add a ton of weight. It's going to add a little bit of different hand to that.
Yep.
But especially, for something like this, it was perfect. So
yeah, and the easiest way to do it is to literally just put the Easy T on the whole band because then the whole band is the same
it's the
consistency.
same, right? Don't only do half.
Yeah.
Because then the front and the back won't
feel the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of body to it. It's not a ton, but a little bit, and it's just enough that you would notice the hand.
You would feel the difference
so
if you were.
Add it to that whole piece. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Clothing, knits.
Clothing, knits. So knits in general, you can categorize that to be anything that's really stretchable, that's going to have a stretch. It doesn't have to be really stretchable, but a stretch to it would be included in this category. So with
the exception of like the moisture wicking. So ignore moisture wicking here because we'll talk
we
about
have that later on. We do a little bit different things to that, and we do a little bit more to that.
Yeah.
So the no-show mesh fusible.
Yeah.
And why do we want the fusible?
Because it's stretched. Because it doesn't stretch.
It doesn't stretch. And when you fuse that to an item that does stretch, you are making it resistible to the stretching in the hoop.
Yeah.
So what that's going to do is allow all of your stitches to be placed without that fabric shifting and being pushed around in the hoop. So you're going to get a much cleaner look. When we have the different things, if you don't stabilize properly, it'll fall into that category of, oh, why didn't I do that?
Right, I really wish I had.
So the back of this particular jacket, I put actually 2 layers of each on there. And I did have one big piece at first, and I did cut them so that they were a little bit separated out. And this has a lot of stitches. So this is pretty heavy stitching. I don't recall that I floated tearaway at the time, but there's 2 layers of fusible on the back. So it had quite a bit in there. And there was quite a bit. This was a multi-hoop, so there's also
Yeah.
a little push on your fabric went from there too. But that fusible goes, and it's going to stay there. It's so. Can you put this on absolutely everything? There's going to be something that's going to come along that you're going to see it and you're not going to want it to be there.
Right.
But most clothes that you're embroidering,
Yep.
it's going to be on the inside and it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So you totally, yes, want this on there. But what happens when you don't do that? So I played a little bit on this just to kind of see, how things would go if I didn't stabilize properly. And this has absolutely no stabilizer behind it. You can see even here how much it's pulling in and it's distorting. But when you come to the outside, it is absolutely atrocious. It's just bumpy. It's sunk in, first of all, because there was nothing preventing. I didn't have a topper. And the puckers and it like literally changed.
Yeah, it just kind of drew in on itself.
It pulled everything in. So all of these little pieces in here, it just pulled it in. There's some small sections that it's not absolutely awful.
Right.
But absolutely nothing that I would want on a regular basis. Did I still wear this? Yes, because it was on the hood and I didn't really care. My hair covered it up for a long time. It's not that long anymore, but there you go. This one, like I said, I was playing to see what can I
get away with
before I'm like, I don't really like that. I will never do this again. I've just FYI. I don't know how well you guys can see because it's like tone on tone. But this is literally, I mean, it's like a Rocky Mountains over here of dips.
It's like our gravel driveway.
It really is. And like I said, I'm not sure how much you guys can see of that, but it is definitely not flat.
Yeah.
Because there was no topper used, they're all literally sucked right into the fabric. By using basically the same color of thread, I made it so that you can't tell how bad it really is because it doesn't stick out. But man, up close, it looks really rough.
Right.
So I'm going to zoom in really close to, I don't know which ones. Doesn't really matter, I guess.
Like maybe that section.
Yeah, I think so. So
there you go.
Yeah,
you can see that really good.
How it's sucking in, it's pulling in, and it literally is tunneled sections, and it pulls and it makes peaks at all of the points.
Yep.
So without the proper thing, this wasn't a cheap sweatshirt.
Right.
I would never do that for myself again. Like I said, I did this on purpose just to see how bad it's going to get. Well, now I know, and I would never do that again. Those tuckers. That's not what I meant. Those tunneling and puckered pieces here are just, and it's just sucked right in there. So you really can't see that well at all. So they're so bad. I did find out what I needed to find out. Don't do that. Right. But that was the main thing. So the proper stabilization, when you have something that has that stretch in there, is absolutely going to play a part in there. The difference between cutaway and tearaway, so maybe I put stabilizer, but I didn't put the right stabilizer there, then we've got a different set of things. So I did still use that fusible cutaway, excuse me.
You're off camera, don't worry about it.
And you can see how beautifully, this is just smooth, it's just great. This happens to be a built-in.
Were you going to say smooth as a baby's butt?
No, I was going to say butter. Butter! Smooth as butter! It's just, I'm spreading my butter. That's what it is. But it just came out so nice.
Yep.
And this is a Walmart sweatshirt. It has an extreme amount of stretch. So that this is as smooth as it is, even though you have a chance of having, after you washed it, which this has been worn multiple times.
Yep.
So it's been washed many, many times. A lot of times you get like absolute puckers in between, even with the fusible on there, it still pulls in because there was just so much stretch. And it's still stayed. I mean, I probably did this 12 years ago. I mean, it's just, it's fun when you get it right.
Yes. Yeah.
So it really makes a big difference. I did a lot of this sweatshirt too. I did the front as well. And again, I used fusible on that as well. So it's just fun when you have something that comes out and it lasts. And
Yeah.
that's where using the absolute right things are going to come in. It's not going to last for 1 or 2 washes. It's going to last for years and years.
Yeah, I mean, how many of you have ever purchased something that was pre-embroidered before you got home and looks like that after you washed it? I mean, I know nothing. I mean, you know, I'm a Disney junkie, right? And I've bought pre-made Disney stuff, and I know when I get home and I
And
wash
you wash
that,
it, it's going to look something
it's
different
not
when it
gonna
comes
look
out.
nice. But I'm like, I'm gonna buy it anyways because I'm apparently special. I'm like, I could do it on my machine for cheaper, but it's done.
And it'll look better,
And it'll
but
look
yeah,
better.
it's okay.
And
I'll
then
just buy it because
disappointed
I'm done.
every time, right?
So this, I actually did, a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the fusible. So it's got 1 layer of fusible, and I floated 2 layers of tearaway underneath,
Mm-hmm.
which for some portions of it was overkill. But if you look on this side, this is some heavy stitching.
Mm-hmm.
So we have lettering, which has tunneling possibility, and we had lots of satin stitches, lots of fill stitches, things that could cause problems.
Right.
I also had a topper on this. So I used 1 layer of fusible no-show mesh, just like the recipe said, and then I floated tearaway, just like the recipe said. I did use a topper
Yeah.
because I wanted to make sure that they stayed up and didn't sink in.
Right.
So on that teal jacket, how much those sank in,
Mm-hmm.
I could have prevented that with
By
that
the topper,
topper.
yep.
So I wanted this to sit pretty as long as
Plus,
possible.
you have small letters.
I do.
And when you use a topper with those small letters,
It helps them look so much fuller.
It does. It just helps. It does. I don't know why. It really does make a difference. It just gives them a little bit.
It gives a little bit more underneath to have the stitch be full, and so it's creating a better looking stitch.
Yep.
And it really just makes difference. I got a couple evidently tails that. Oh no, it's not a tail. There we go. Just fuzz. But so you can make, I did 2 layers on the other jacket. I did 1 layer, but I had tearaway on this one. So you can float between how many layers of what based on what you want to have on there and for the longevity. But, that's definitely still within that recipe.
Right. Jane says, I love that design. I think she meant to say, where did it come from? And I apologize. I love that design. Where did you get it?
Yes. This part, it was a font that I found that I turned into stitches. So this was nothing, but the actual piece, I did purchase. I could have made this, but I didn't have time.
Right.
Kind of like your Disney
Yeah.
story there. This one I got from Embroidery Library.
They have
So,
a lot of really cute stuff.
they
And
do have-
You can kind of tell because there's a lot of stitches.
There is a lot of stitches, which was the other reason that I had 2 layers of tearaway, because they have a tendency to be a little heavy on stitching, and I wanted to make sure. I didn't have time to test this on something else. I just didn't have the hours in the day, so I was like, I really need this to come out right the first time. So I overloaded.
Yeah.
I loaded 2 layers of tearaway in plus the topper. I did everything I possibly could to make sure it was going to come out as best as possible, and it worked beautifully. I have gotten a lot of compliments on this.
It's very cute.
It turned out really great, and I love the colors that I chose. You never know how it's going to be, when you're going through that kind of stuff.
Yes.
We don't have. Oh, we'll come back. That's on another one, right? Like
Non. Yes. I
Talk
think
about the difference when we get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that probably next?
It might very well be.
Yes. So non-knit is basically not non-stretch. So I mean, you could replace the word stretch and knit and fill in just about any type here.
Yeah.
So I still like to use fusible. It gives just a little extra coverage. Sometimes that doesn't work based on
If you can't fuse.
if you can't fuse it. Maybe it's the type of fabric, that kind of thing. There's definitely been different reasons. If I can't fuse it, I use a sticky instead.
Yes.
So if I can't iron it, I like to use sticky because that replaces it as close as I can get
Right.
to having anything not moving.
Yeah, kind of like when you said there was some pushing on the multi-hooped version.
Yep.
When you have satin stitches or a lot of stitching, it's impossible. It's like when you roll something, right? You everything starts out the same and you're rolling your dough and it's growing. The
Yep.
same thing happens. It's pushing the fabric, it's going to grow.
Yep. The
So
same concept.
the better you can have it stuck to something, the less likely you are to have that.
So if fusible is not an option, or you just flat out you don't want to do it for what, then I would go with a sticky. Does it have to be a sticky cutaway? Depends on what. On a non-knit, no, you can get away with a sticky tearaway because in theory there shouldn't be much stretch, so you shouldn't have too many issues afterwards.
Right.
So floating heavy tearaway or just flat out using heavy tearaway, again, you need it to have stuck to something if you're not fusing, but then you can float that. So this is a Old Navy jean jacket that
is stable.
It's very stable. And all I did was sticky tearaway because it didn't really need a boost. I think I did use a topper just to make sure that it's kind of got, the bumpies. And I wanted to make sure it sat up real pretty. So this particular one, I did the compass on the back and then the cute little cord. They matched. So I was like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I did all I did on this one was that sticky tearaway in a topper.
Right. And this is a perfect example of the type of jacket or the type of something that's hard to hoop because you've got these extra seams. So even if you could
really
get it
hard to get this snapped in, and if you get it snapped in, it's probably going to snap out partway through.
Because you can't get it tight and it'll be uneven. So
there is sticky tearaway, and I don't generally pull from the center. I let it stay just because I'm like, well, the longer it stays there, the longer it's going to support my stuff. So
right.
The more you pick at it, the quicker everything's going to fall out.
Exactly.
So I generally will leave that. I do, tear towards so I don't have excess out here, but I do a lot of times just leave it alone in the middle just so that I have as longevity of that as possible.
I'm sure someone's going to want to know where that came from.
That's a great question. I think that one might have been Urban Threads.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It looks like very much like an Urban.
I think that one's Urban Thread. If not, it might have been Embroidery Library.
Yeah. Well, they're owned by the same people.
Which is why I said if it's not one, it's the other. But I'm pretty sure it's one of those. And I think that set was Urban Threads.
It looks very Urban Threadish.
That was exactly what I thought. This is a very old jacket. The differencing between all jean jackets are not created equal. You've got very stable and non-stretch. You don't get as many of those these days. You have to really look for those.
Yeah.
Almost all jean that's made these days has
stretch.
At least some, if not a whole bunch of stretch. So like I said, this is super old and it is like uber stretchy. So there was no way I could just do this. It would just fall apart. So this is at least 20 years old. And this I did 2 layers of fusible on the back. So it works.
Yeah.
I just don't. So there is some little bits of highs and lows because I added rhinestones. So there's some areas that are a little bit different, but I mean, even after 20 years, this is still really solid. So make sure that you check what you're working with before you decide how to stitch on it. So, and that was Anita Good design from a million years ago.
Yeah.
It was out of the box. They called that one peacocks. That's all I got.
And then we have like quilt squares in the hoop. So think an Anita Good design, a Kimberbell design, maybe an OESD design, something where you're making a quilt block in there. We've been doing like the Kimberbell mystery quilt, Bella box things, all kinds of wall hangings and things like that. One of the things that I will say is that while I did not change this, so I left the easy tee on the background fabric, but I will tell you that we have been doing the Kimberbell mystery wall quilt And with the stabilizer and the starching, we have not needed to add the Easy Tee on the back of our fabrics. So that is one of those things that you can kind of start maybe tweaking a little bit
Yep.
depending on some of it depends on, I think, the batting and the no-show mesh that you have.
So, and I just want to throw in there that we are heavy starchers.
Yes, heavy.
So we best pressed the
heavy.
living daylights out of stuff before we did that. So I want to say, I don't remember what month it was, but somebody commented that they they had some tunneling and some things afterwards without doing that. So they
Yep.
had switched to putting it back on. If you only just gently spritz
Yep.
and then press that off, that's not what we do. It's just FYI. I mean, we are dousing our fabric, so it is very stiff to begin with, which is aiding us in not having to have that extra.
Yeah.
So we are heavily starching those things that we are skipping. Just
Yes.
FYI. Well, we heavily starch everything.
Right.
But that is why we can skip that step,
Yeah.
I guess, is where I just wanted to throw that in there because there's definitely a
Oh, yes.
a difference to the amount of starch and how those things are going to come out.
And let's keep in mind, so something like this, that's perfect. Something like this, maybe not so,
No.
because there's a lot more stitching around
Tons
here.
more. I would still put it on something like this
Yes.
because of the amount of what you're adding to it. And
Yep.
for this particular piece, there wasn't a finishing, so it's
Right.
just loose edges. When you have stabilizer and batting in there, it's going to stabilize that top a little bit more by itself.
Right.
This didn't have any of that. So
No,
we have
there was no background quilting in there whatsoever.
no, there wasn't any. It was just the design, which is fine, well, and good. It's what we used to do all the time.
Yep. Yep.
But how you want to prepare for that is definitely going to be a little bit different. So
Yeah.
what is the end, what else is going to be in there and what is the end finishing aspects too?
Absolutely. And if I had a ton of lettering in it, I would still go ahead and put the Easy Tee on the back of it because
Yes.
it's going to hold up for those letters much better.
Yep. But so this one is old enough. It's from Cup of Cheer. We never even really argued about it. We just fused and
Yep.
went. This did have a lot of satin stitching, but it was also pretty spread out, and
The background quilting in there.
the background does help that a little bit. But this is a very typical quilt block. With that recipe, you've got no-show mesh in the hoop. You've got batting that's going to go in if you're doing that quilt square. If you're pre-quilting in the hoop, and then you have your topper fabric, which we've got the fusible on the back of that. Then you're building either your quilt design,
Yep.
and then your actual square itself, whatever that happens to be.
Absolutely.
So all of those things are going to come into play. We had the same thing on that one. You absolutely can look at what's the end and
Yep.
how much other stuff am I putting in there. If you're not sure, put fusible on the back. It's always better in this instance to put it on there than to skip it and then wish you had.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to fix those things once they go bad.
Oh, yeah, terrible. And if I was not using batting, I would 100%
Absolutely without
use
batting.
that.
Which again, this particular one
did not
did
have.
not have any batting, any quilting, anything. It just was there. So we've got a heavy cutaway and we fused.
Some heavy starch.
And
yeah.
heavy starch and fused.
Yeah.
So lots of things going on to combat that from
And that
having
one
issues.
probably could have used a heavyweight tearaway underneath it too.
Probably should have.
You've got a little bit of
Nope, it doesn't have that.
yeah.
No. So yeah,
I think we probably followed Kimber Bell's
I
instructions.
think that I was just gonna say we were doing what we were told. See what happens when you do that. But yeah, so that is the difference between how what else is happening.
Right.
How's it going to be finished?
How's it gonna
Those
be
kinds of
finished,
things to look at. So definitely lots of fun quilt squares. We have these? Or is this kind of in the same?
It's probably in the same. Yeah.
We've got.
Well, we do have some in the hoop projects. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we can come back to that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to set those aside.
It's probably quilting a quilt in the hoop. So that would be there's a couple things over there.
Yep.
Yeah. So typically when we are quilting a quilt in the hoop, we already have our fabrics layered. So we have the top, we have our batting, and we have our backing. You do want them to, depending on how big it is, you're going to want those to be basted together. So if you've got something, we've got something really small here, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But if you have like a baby quilt or something like that, you are definitely going to want those pieces to be stuck together. I think
This
on
particular one
you've-
is, it's
you have
also
fused-
fusible
yeah.
batting. We just wanted a lightweight piece.
Yeah,
So
and I think we
this is
actually have a
ultra soft.
double-sided fusible. Yeah.
Okay, so we'd fused directly to the backing, excuse me. A lot of times the batting is got enough fuzz that it holds your top down.
Together. Yeah.
That you can either just keep smoothing things and see how that goes.
We had
or still basting.
a quick question here. Do you ever put 2 layers of EZT on?
You can take that. That's your soapbox. No, I'm kidding.
Traditionally, I don't double fuse anything. So if I have fused one of something, I do not add a second fusible into my mix. The reason that I do not do that is because from my experience, most of the time, the second layer, either while I'm trying to fuse the second layer on, I'm heating up the first layer and now I'm getting bubbles.
Or you're actually overheating the base layer to where you're actually getting rid of that adhesive.
Exactly. So my experience is not 2 layers of EZT would not be my
not your go-to by any stretch.
No.
You would much rather, and I would probably do the same at this point, put a heavy tearaway float underneath to compensate if you needed more help.
Yes.
If you absolutely need to, for whatever reason, a lot of like my clothing things, I need an extra boost of whatnot. Now, again, if I can, I would just float something at this point, but for longevity purposes, if you must, do the same 2 products together.
Yeah.
Don't do EZT and no-show mesh because the heat is not the same. So you're going to mess up one or the other no matter what.
Right.
So if you must do 2 layers, which totally your choice if that's where you're going to go. I certainly have done that myself. We've had this conversation many times, you know, and I don't generally have too much problem. But at the same time, what I'm doing, as long as one layer is fused, it's preventing the stretch. So whether the second piece is fused 100% isn't necessarily for how I'm doing things mandatory for all areas.
Exactly.
I'm still getting that extra little boost there. But we definitely have both found that the fuse alters when you take that second one. You're not getting as consistent of a fuse on layer 2.
Exactly.
So.
And I can't think of a particular project where a second layer of EZT would like
how that's going to benefit more than just floating tearaway.
Yeah, or even just like spraying a no-show mesh to the bottom of it if you need more oomph or something like that. I love EZT, but it 2 layers is pretty thick.
It's definitely going to change the hand of what you're working on.
Well, and it's dense, so a little bit harder to stitch through for like your embroidery needle if you're embroidering in this instance, or piecing together. Again, you know, you're sewing 2 layers of your quilt squares together and they both have the EZT on. You can definitely tell the difference between that versus something that doesn't have the EZT layer on it. It definitely is harder to stitch through.
Oh, for sure.
So
absolutely.
Yes.
But that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's certainly something that we still have conversations about that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
For sure. Absolutely great question. Thank you.
And most of the time when we are quilting a quilt, we assume that you can hoop it. So
right. If you are quilting in the
stabilizer.
hoop, you are most likely going to hoop whatever that is, whether
Yes.
it's magnetic, which is certainly going to make your life easier,
Yes.
or in a standard hoop. But most of those, unless you have crazy applique things going on top, are smooth enough and easy enough to get into the hoop itself.
If you couldn't get it hooped, you would want to use some sort of water soluble or badge master, because you need to have something.
You
in
need
the
to
hoop
have something in the hoop.
to get
Always need to have something in the hoop.
Yes.
You can't free. I can't say the
Yes.
word that popped in my head is not appropriate. But you cannot completely willy-nilly just throw something over the hoop and think that's going to work.
You cannot.
It has to have something in the hoop that it is being stitched into.
Yes.
All of that said, your batting in this instance is your stabilizer.
Yep.
So as long as this is going in the hoop, that batting is your stabilizer.
Yep.
Because you've got a whole sandwich.
You got a sandwich.
And if you're quilting in the hoop, are you doing satin stitches? Are you doing
Right? No, you should.
You're
not
doing running stitches. Even if you're doing a triple stitch,
right.
You're not pulling. You don't have that push-pull comp that you're stressing about. You don't have all of that. So the amount of extra protection and boost that you need, that batting is going to cover.
Yes. Yes. It is not, would not be considered quilting if you
Right.
were using
No.
a significant amount of.
So this one, did you do this before or after?
I did it after.
Yes, you did. I could have answered my own question. Look at that. You lined that up really good.
That camera.
Look at that. That's great. So this is a built-in quilting from one of our lovely embroidery machines. And so she's literally got that lined up to perfectly fit in that square. And you can see the quilting stitches on the back. So it was all done right there. So that's really great. And again, your batting in that instance is acting as your stabilizer.
Yes.
If for whatever reason this was so thick you couldn't pinch it through the hoop, then you would have just a water soluble in the hoop, and then this would float on top of it.
And then I could rinse it once I was done. Like you want to make sure that you've got your binding on and everything before you rinse out. What a mess if you get your quilt wet.
Don't get it wet before you actually finish the quilts, like binding the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yuck. Just yuck.
It's just messy.
Just yuck. So yes, quilting in the hoop is very fun and also less stressful because you don't have, what stabilizer is the right one.
Right. And quilt blocks, best press, woven interfacing, water soluble, or heavyweight tearaway. Again, if I had the blocks and I was going to embroider on the block, not necessarily quilting in here, but I have quilt blocks that I made and now I want to add embroidery to it. I would put the interfacing on the back of it, and then I would use a water soluble or a heavyweight tearaway. Somewhere in here, this towel is when you go to do water soluble stabilizer, and your fabrics have not been like pre-shrunk or pre-starched, what happens sometimes is when you, let's pick the right button here. There we go. When you look at like the ears in here, they kind of sort of melted in to like the weave of this towel, but because it had water soluble in there, it kind of like it wrinkled it, like it shrunk it up a little bit, and that can happen on applique pieces on a regular quilt after it's been washed, if you don't have those pieces pre-shrunk. So a lot of times people are like, well, I don't ever pre-shrink my fabric.
Why would I do that?
And things like that. That's the particular reason why. If you're using small pieces.
You guys can't feel, but you can literally feel the bumps.
Yeah.
Because it's just like sucked into the squares of the waffle behind it.
Yeah. So sometimes if you're using, and again, the only thing we had in here was a water soluble stabilizer. So there's nothing underneath that those ears, and there's nothing left on the back of the towel to give it any substance. So if you're doing quilt blocks, that's why putting the Easy Tee on the back of it. So like on those ears, if we had used Easy Tee on the back of that fabric,
it would be a barrier between the two, and you wouldn't have the waffle weave coming through
there.
The fabric.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons to use the Easy Tee on sometimes your applique pieces or in your quilt blocks. Again, just helps to prevent some of the transfer, the carryover of that.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't rinsed out very well.
No, it was not. I'm like, wow, this
very
is like
crunchy.
Wiki.
Yeah.
There's something going on there.
Yeah, it feels very starchy.
It is very, very rough there. Yes, it is. So, people are always like, wow, you guys are crazy about your prepping of your fabric. Well, all of those kinds of things that you do ahead of time before you put anything in the hoop or just under your needle in general is going to prevent things from the shrink, just the wrinkling part,
Mhm.
because that shrunk when it got wet because it hadn't been pre-treated.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily think about that until it happens, but once it has happened, or sometimes if somebody says something to me and I'm like looking around and I'm thinking to myself, somewhere I feel like I've had a conversation about this. I wonder what that was. But this is why, we know these things because we've been doing this long enough to make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And then try to figure out how to correct it.
How to correct it. And that prepping of the fabric really does take out a lot of the guesswork later on.
Yes.
And the problem solving later on, because you don't have those problems when you've got a starched, pre-shrunk fabric that you're putting in.
Yep.
It magically works a lot better.
Yes, we have a lot less oops.
I don't know. I mean, the water soluble, it probably would have still pulled a little, even if we had pre-shrunk and starched that without a barrier in there. It probably would have, when we did the water soluble away, it probably would have pulled the pattern through, but it wouldn't have pulled the wrinkles in.
Right.
We wouldn't have the wrinkles. So it wouldn't look as bad.
Right.
Because it would have been harder to pull in.
Yep.
So it definitely would have made a difference on that guy. But he's still cute.
He's still very cute.
But he's just a little lumpy.
Right.
All right.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. There's lots of fun things in front of us. What do we got?
Let's see. Wall hangings.
Wall hangings.
Basically, wall hangings are kind of similar to how we did like our quilt projects in the Kimberbell project. So we use a lot of the same things. We use the woven interfacing, ultra soft fusible, fuse and fleece, and heavyweight tearaway. So we use those things because it gives our project a little bit of like body to it, and it substantially softens the look of like the words on them. So they become much softer and prettier to look at. They don't just sit on the surface of everything that we've done. So using those things as like your on your project before you go ahead and you get it ready. Just didn't cut those.
I didn't cut those.
I'm
like, it's not fringing. Not chenilling very well at all. No fuzz busters there.
Yeah, Jane said she prepped pumpkins and potions and it took 2 days. Yeah.
So, I will freely agree and admit the prep part does not mean it's the fun part.
No.
But it is well worth all of that time because it's going to make your finished project. And, especially if you're talking like a Kimberbell large project and you are prepping all of that fabric, it might take you I think Cup of Cheer took me 4 days to prep.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Cup of Cheer was huge.
It was huge, but it took me, I don't even know how long to make this. It was just, but the finished project was I didn't have any issues because it was all, everything that I needed. It was all prepped. It was bagged. Everything was there, and it just made bagged and tagged and pre-shrunk. So when you actually, yes, it does suck, but I guarantee it is so worth it when you finish that project and you didn't have half the problems and issues that you sometimes get when, things just, you're like, oh, I got to go get this. Oh, I got to go get that. And when you have all of that there and you've got things pre-shrunk, it looks good in the hoop and it looks good out of the hoop and it stays looking good and it's so worth it.
Yep.
All right.
We got wall hangings and patches.
Okay. So patches, you have a little bit of flexibility depending upon what your materials that you're making them out of and also what edges that you have, so sometimes tearaways are great. But if you have a patch that has a lot of stitching, you can actually perforate your tearaway so much that it's not in position anymore. There's nothing left to finish the patch out.
Yes.
I've actually had that happen to me. So
yeah, it's no fun.
It is no fun. So because I tend to do things like lots of words, so lots of stitching, each individual patch takes a long time. And so this was my crappy, that's why they're here instead of given to Mylan Swim and Dive. But the patches I have this is multiple layers of mesh, which makes it rinsing easy. And it's strong enough to hold all of that because I've got other stuff in, you know, I'm using the heavy patch. There's a word for that.
Twill?
Twill.
Yeah.
Poly patch twill. Thank you. So those are great. You could use heavy tearaway on this instead. And then when you have that heavy satin stitch, it sometimes will, that's where I've had it perforate out, is when it's coming back around. It's like barely hanging on by a thread when it comes back over here because it's perforated through the stabilizer. So I do tend to like to have at least some water soluble on there to hold everything in place as it's going.
Yep.
This particular one, we have felt on the back and the poly patch twill. This is a heavy duty patch. There's also, I forget, didn't we put other stuff inside?
Yeah, I think there's at least a layer of
Like
probably
cutaway
in there.
I think there's a cutaway inside, and then
It
we
could be a
also had water
frisbee.
soluble. I mean, this is like you can bend it, but not where the stitches are. It's like, holy, this is a hockey puck, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, you want your patches to have stability, which is what that poly patch twill really does. I used to put stuff on the back, but when I switched to using poly patch, I don't need to.
Anything on the back,
I don't need it because this is enough all on its own. They can just sew right around and it's all set.
Yep.
So they are, whether you're using tearaway, whether you're using a water soluble. I have used Badge Master. Sometimes it depends on how many I'm making and what I have at home, because once I get on a roll, you don't want to stop. So you use whatever you have. So I have used both Badge Master as my base for a patch, and water soluble and tearaway. So I have used all of them. It really just kind of depends on the individual designs. All of these are different samples of the wall hanging type things that we do. When you are stitching the fronts, having a float of heavy tearaway, depending upon, like for this, this was a lot of stitching for that.
Yeah, so cute, but a lot.
I thought this was the most darling thing for the longest time. I was like, I got to make one of those. And I was like, I'm going to make one for me, and I'm going to make one for Joyce, and I'm going to make. This took forever.
Yeah,
because all of the starts and the stops of all of the different flowers. I mean, this literally took forever. I was like, okay, it's mine. And it hangs in my sewing room because I just love this. So, but the stabilizer is definitely the things that we talked about from the wall hangings. We didn't switch cameras, so I just wanted to kind of point those things out. So depending on whether you're going with just your cutaway or whether you're floating the tearaway, it's going to depend on how much stitching. This has almost no stitching in it.
Right.
So I didn't need anything extra here. The stabilizer in the hoop was just fine. This doesn't even have quilting on it to help. So it definitely just depends on what is being stitched. This had a few spots of heavy. We used a heavier, I can feel it.
I think it's regular. I think it's because it's an older design.
Yep, it's an older one, and so it's a heavier. When it comes to mug rugs and pillows and things like that, that are still done with those same types of things, you can decide. Do you want like the white medium cutaway, or do you want the no-show mesh cutaway?
Right.
Because how much body do you want that to have? Do you want it to be stiff sitting on the table, or do you want it to be flexible? And you know what? You can definitely go between those depending on how you want it to turn out.
Yeah, and most of them have batting in them these days, so the batting is going to support a ton of stitches.
Yeah, so like this has batting through the whole thing. Actually, I don't think that one does, but this one does too, because it's a mug rug. So yep. So yeah, the batting again, like we talked about, does help stabilize.
And we have cork, and we were just now talking about.
We were talking about some of those projects. In the hoop things.
So our cork, Lisa has this really cute notebook. These were a lot of fun. Were they an OESD?
No.
Design?
I got this from some random place online.
I know we did an OESD. I think OESD has a cork
design. They do.
We did one.
This is not it.
Not it. Anyway,
no.
There are like books on that you can get, notebook covers and things like that, that you embroider on cork. And cork is a pretty, not all cork is equal, but for the most part, it's a pretty stable product. So you can use sticky tearaway, you can use heavy tearaway, you can use a cutaway. just depending on how much is in there. Lisa's flipping hers out right now, which is a feet, and it looks like she's got no-show mesh in there.
So there's no-show mesh as my base.
Mm-hmm.
I
A
think
layer of batting.
I think I put batting in it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the quilting stitches to have.
To pop up. Yeah.
This cork was thick enough. It didn't do a ton, but it did a little. It gave it a little bit of body in
Yeah.
there. But this was a definite very heavy. I just wanted you guys to, if you've never done something like this, you do it and you place this on, and then you turn it, and so your holes, you don't have, they're
Yeah.
buried in there, so it's really easy to do that. So they're not as hard as they look.
Yeah.
And this cork by itself, I probably didn't need the batting. Like I said, I was trying to get a little bit of poof in the quilter quilting stitch in there, but the no-show mesh is all I really needed in this instance. I didn't definitely didn't want the heavier cutaway, because this is already, as you can see,
thick.
Very thick for turning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the way these are put together are super easy, and you just hide your turn spot in the pockets, and you're done.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
So cute.
What was the other?
In the hoop projects.
Okay.
So,
did we talk about felt, or do you have a thing, or should we throw all of that stuff in here too?
I think
do you have a bonus?
probably in the hoop, freestanding in the hoop, fun with fonts bags. So they're kind of all the same here.
Okay.
So we're stabilizer always goes long.
It does.
So,
what time is it?
We're at
Okay, we're at 4:30
we got a little
right
bit
now.
of time. So in the hoop projects, a medium cutaway or a no-show mesh, lightweight batting when the pattern calls for it. So zippered bags, pot holders. We'll show the samples. We'll flip through the cards, and then freestanding in the hoop projects. We have one of those here to show you, like bookmarks, 3 flowers. We did a little bit of that earlier when we were showing you the water soluble things. These can be heavyweight tearaway, water soluble, lightweight batting when the pattern calls for it. Again, does it need to wash away, or can it stay with it? That's kind of how you're picking that, or does it need to go completely away? This house over here is done primarily with wash away stabilizer, because we didn't want to pick
nothing left over.
Yeah, you don't want to have to pick the tearaway away from it later, because it's something that you see both sides of.
You do see both sides. So in this instance, we didn't want a white sheath coming through our roof line.
Exactly. Yeah, that would not have been fun
Not
at all.
very attractive.
And then we talked a little bit about fun with fonts, soft fusible fleece, and then heavyweight tearaway. Again, it helps to prevent the tunneling from happening. So, and now let's show some samples of those.
All right, we definitely have lots of things that are still here. So let's start with that one. This is the Terrifying Tower from OESD, and it is multiple pieces that you stitch in the hoop, and then you use their little loop, and I don't remember if there's an actual name for it or not, but it's not hook and eye, but that's always what pops in my head. But it's like that. This little circular piece goes through the tab and it stays in place. They've got a really special tool that reaches through there, grabs it, and pulls it back. Highly recommend, if you want to do something like this, invest in that tool, or your fingers will hurt so bad by the end. But this one is just, the detail is amazing. You've got spider webs and all kinds of things everywhere. And then the roof line, you've got a little porch over here, and it's just, they did a really, really great job on here. And it does have, gotta go this way, a base to it, so that it keeps everything open instead of twisting and getting all goofy. They do these well. They have a lot of different types. They have a lot of Christmas. They have a lot of Halloween. They just released the Harry Potter castle. I want to say that one is a $40 design.
Yeah.
$39.99. We could get that for you if that's something that you're interested in. They also released a couple tile scene Harry Potter stuff too.
Yeah.
So some really, really cute things. If that is in your wheelhouse, there's some really great stuff there. You should check it out. But this is made with, what do they call it?
They're sewable vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And are you talking about their fiber foam?
No, what's the name of the sewable vinyl? It's like,
Oh,
it's glittery stuff. It's really cool. We'll come up with it.
I had it.
Yep, I screwed it up for you. Sorry. But yeah, that is, yep, can't remember it either. But it comes in different colors. So there's black, there's green, and there's purple. It is OESD's, nope, not there. She's looking it up. But anyway, you use that along with the foam. It's not foam. It's core type stuff. It's great stuff. So it definitely gives you the ability to do 3D designs and have them
Lux
stand up.
Sparkle Vinyl.
Lux, that's the name. It's the Lux. That was what I couldn't get.
Jane was putting it up there too.
Thank you.
That was it. Yep.
And I think you might be right on the Creative Kiwi for that notebook. It's something like that, but yeah. So in the hoop projects, I like the zippered bags. I do like to mess with them a little bit. So I'll put pockets on my pieces before I put them into the bag pattern. Add a little tag and a little extra something or zipper, that kind of thing. It just gives them a little bit more character and that kind of thing. So this is the Kimberbell thing, but I might have altered it a little because where's the fun in following directions?
Right.
Little pillows, same things we've talked about. This is another zippered bag. It had the pineapple piece. All of hers are lined. This did have
we
hardware possibilities that you can do there, but how cute is all of that? So you do all of the piecing, you put the zipper in right in the hoop, you do all the piecing, folded fabric right in the hoop, and then you just your linings and everything on there, front and the back of the hoop, you work and you turn it and you're done.
Fun, yeah.
So you really start with just a piece of no-show mesh in this instance, depending upon, this one had a batting in the front.
Yep.
Sometimes they have you build your back first.
Yep.
So you have a quilted back that has batting in it as well. So sometimes you'll get a little bit more from there. It just depends on the individual design. This is from their bag set. Just again, different things, but all of these all start the same way. It's just like a quilt square in the hoop.
I remember when we did that live, it was like a snowstorm. You remember that?
No, I don't. I remember buying fabric by flashlights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't particularly remember that. I'm sorry. This is sticky wash away in a felt, which kind of got to be careful getting felt too wet.
Not all felt.
Not all felts are created equal, and you definitely aren't going to want to shove this under super, super hot water.
Right.
So cool rinsing when you're working with felt, but that is both.
Yep.
So this is something you're supposed to put flowers. So
it's a Bella Box project.
It's a Bella Box project. This was also a Bella Box project. It used sticky tearaway, and it has just embroidery screen. Lots of fun. You can do this. We've got one here in the shop. It has the octopus.
Is that sticky tearaway or sticky wash away?
Did I say tear? I'm sorry. It's sticky wash. I apologize. It is sticky wash away. My brain said one thing and my mouth said another.
Okay.
I apologize to everybody out there. See the little dots? It's wash away.
I was like, are they dots on dots?
Yeah, they're dots. Yeah. So, but embroidery screen is a lot of fun. You can layer it over fabrics, or you can put it just in a frame by itself and have your paint or whatever coming through as well. So lots of fun that you can have with that. But again, you're starting with one layer of stabilizer and building on top of whatever that is. What else do we want?
Let's do... so we kind of just did bags. So bags, I don't know that we have anything that actually has fringe on it, but we kind of.
Where's the little guy?
Oh yeah, here, I was like.
So fringe.
You're using a water soluble pen, aqua pen, alternate bobbin color and trim. That only works if you have a second color stop in there.
Yes. So pay attention to how that design is digitized and created, because it is definitely a mandatory thing that you can stop in between the large fringe stitch and then the tack down that holds that fringe in place. If there is no stop, You can't do the water soluble method unless you're paying like super duper close attention.
Right.
So, but I love fringe. It's a lot of fun. This one had a lot of fringe, like a lot of fringe. There's like multiple rounds. It took a lot. Okay, fringe. This was literally just a basic.
Yep.
Um,
Towels, sticky tear away or sticky wash away. You can float a tear away if needed for additional stitch density. And then we have a sample here of how it's just as important to get the back part right. But I think we've been talking about that for a long time, right?
Yep.
What to use on the back of the towels. I think one of the things that we don't always see is how important that topper, no topper is. We talked about it, but it's
but
very
sometimes
cool.
it's hard to actually describe that and have you see it. So, Sarah found this towel somewhere in the
Building,
backyard of some closet and did this sample. So it literally says topper, no topper. This is terry loops that you can see have loft, right? And this one is the topper. Look how clean it's sitting up on top of those loops. You can read it. You can even read the small letters, okay? When you get to this one, you can see a lot of green popping through on that. That is what no topper does. So the topper literally flattens whatever surface that you're stitching on to give you a level playing field so that your stitches sit up pretty.
Yep.
That's what it does. And you can so see the difference, especially from far away. I mean, you can read that. This one is like, what does it say? So it's definitely a big difference. When you are using a topper, a heat away topper and a water soluble topper give you the same result. It's what material you're sewing on that's going to determine, and what your design looks like, that's going to determine which one, water or heat, that you're going to use.
Yes.
They will both give you the same result here.
Yep.
Okay. The difference on a non-soup, this is just cotton. You can still see the difference. It's just not as drastic.
Right.
So you're still getting much fuller, puffier stitches up here. I mean, these literally look like there's twice as much thread in them. It's a little bit hard to see, I know, on camera, but this literally has like loft to the stitch. It's almost got like a puffy look to it because they've got that topper underneath, so it's actually lifting the stitches up. This one doesn't have that, and you can actually still see little bits of black in random spots coming through, and you don't have that loft that's in there. So they just sit up so pretty with the topper. If you go to a stabilizer event, quotes, those are my air quotes.
Yep.
If you go to an event, they will tell you to put topper on everything. Well, it can make a difference even if you don't actually need it. You can get a better stitch. But for me, personally, I don't do it with this. I do it with this.
The only time I do it on regular material like that is when I know I have a lot of small stitches.
Yeah.
Like on your jacket over there, how it really would have, you did put a topper on it, so we'll never know, but you and I know that that would have made a difference, especially on those small letters. They just, single line fonts and really tiny satin stitches, they get lost in basically everything. Anything that has,
if it has any squish to it, they're going to sink in at some point.
Yes, and that topper can really make or break what you're working on.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely
absolutely
perfect to be used for
so
there.
Topper definitely is something that you should have at home. Because you don't want to have to go get it when you need it. You want to have it when you're ready to stitch.
Exactly.
And again, people always ask, well, which one should I get? Both. They're not super expensive. They're totally worth having both. And something like the towel, I would prefer to use heat if my design would allow it to be torn away and removed easily. Because it will stay underneath. The water soluble is going to disappear the first time that you wash it. Stitches are still going to be placed well, all of that good stuff, but over multiple washes, those terry loops in this instance could come up through the stitches. If that heat away is under, it's never coming out. It's going to stay there, and you have a permanent barrier between the terry loops and your beautiful stitches.
Absolutely.
So, but on different things, I choose, different toppers. Just depends on what, how can I rinse it? Are they really tiny stitches that I'm not going to be able to get my iron into to get rid of the heat away?
Exactly.
Different things like that. But
so I'm going to put the link up again so that you can download what we've been showing.
Based.
There we go. And then we're kind of at the end of our list there, but there's a couple of things here that we didn't really have things on. So we're just going to show you a few more things here without pulling up more words. So
I'm going to turn these over because it's much easier to see the differences from the back. So this says cutaway for anybody that can't read backwards. All right. This has cutaway here, but it has a fusible on it. This is the same cutaway, but no fusible. And you can even see just by the shadows how many puckers are coming out of those letters. Does it look terrible on the front? It's not
No,
terrible,
it's not terrible.
but this is definitely better. There's absolutely no question. So you can really see just the shadow alone. You can see how much pulling is happening without that extra stabilization from the fusible.
Exactly.
So that is the cutaway. This says tearaway. So I'm going to do the same thing. The one up top here is going to have a fusible, and the one down here does not. So it's a little harder to see because there's no white left here. But these have pulls in between every little bits and pieces, where this one, it literally, it looks pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Because you have that original fusible to keep that fabric from any shifting as you're stitching.
Yep.
And then that tearaway is giving it the boost in the stitches that it needs to help support.
Yep.
So this fusible can make all the difference in the world. And when you're doing lettering, you want to have something fused to that to prevent that tunneling effect that you see.
Yep.
Even if you're using cutaway.
Yep.
People think cutaway is the magic fix. It's going to just fix everything. Without fusible, it actually does not fix anything unless you have a fusible. It can support the number of stitches, but if you haven't prepped your fabric or if it's really stretchy, it's still going to start pulling.
Yep, absolutely.
We have birthday cards and other types of cards. There is so much that can be done on our machines. This one particularly used a sticky tearaway, and then we just pulled that back, and a lot of people will then put fabric or paper.
Yep, over top of that
Over
edge.
top of that so that you don't see this, and then you just put your verse and stuff over here. So sticky tearaway or sticky cutaway is a good choice for these. These are photo stitches. They just have cutaway, and that is because I have a very dense felt on top, and my cutaway is giving me that strength that I need, and they were both in the hoop, so there was no stretching really happening.
Right.
So that cutaway is giving that support there.
The felt is very stable.
Felt is very stable, yes. Good felt is very stable. And then this is a tile scene. So we get asked a lot about tile scenes. This has the fusible on my fabric. I literally just did a whole strip. I put the fusible on the whole strip, and then I put that in the hoop, and I floated 2 layers in this instance of tearaway because the entire piece is getting those fill stitches, and I don't want any more pulling on that than I have to have. So tile scenes are not hard, but they're time consuming, and you do want to make the time to stabilize them properly, because if you don't, then they're not fun.
No, not fun at all.
Difference between a like a soft and stable or a SoFab foam and what is this called? Why can't I ever remember it? Baby Locks is Shape Flex.
Shape form.
Shape form, but the stiff.
Peltex, Temtex.
The stiff, right? So the difference, one's a little bit more flexible. What do you want your end result to be? These are both trinket trays. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. It's just a preference point. So you can totally make those decisions on things like that. Do we have anything else? I think that's it.
That's it.
Yep, that's what we got. So stabilizer,
There's
there's a lot to it, but once you get the basics in your head, it's really not that bad. There's really still only 3 types. You got a cutaway, a tearaway, and a washaway. You're over here counting on your hands.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
And, you know, once you know what you need for that particular thing, you can go from there. We did originally, when we started doing recipe cards, we had printed them out when you attended our stabilizer boot camp.
Yes.
So you've been attending for a month now.
Yep.
It's been a long month now. So that's what you're going to get in that download. So if you click on that, the little pieces that we had up on screen, you can print those out, save those, put those in your wherever you keep your stabilizer, and that way you know what to grab out and what to use to get the wonderful stitch happening.
Yep. When I was first starting out, I kept a little binder, and I would put, like, when something went wrong, like, I would put that in there.
Don't do that.
Like, yeah, this is when you think that this is going to be enough, surprise, it's not. Here's how I fixed it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you get, it's a long time before I go back to a certain project.
Yeah, for sure. We do different things. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the whole fun of it. We get to do a whole bunch of different things.
Exactly. And, now I've done it enough times that I remember, I go over to the stabilizer, here's my project, I pick it, right? And I pick it with confidence. But, we've been doing this for 20 years now.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
The first 3 years we were doing this, we did not pick with confidence.
Oh.
We picked, and then we were like, oh.
That didn't turn out so great, but I'm still cool. Check me out. I'm
That's right.
embroidering,
That's right.
Yeah, I was way too good to ask for help. I mean,
of course.
I had to figure it all out on my own. And
you didn't really know. I mean, you meet the people in the
wasn't-
sewing store,
it
and you're
wasn't
like,
really like it is now. I mean, the
No.
education was there, but it wasn't up front and
wasn't
all
as-
over the internet and all. I mean,
it's easy,
as
accessible.
easy accessible. And you felt weird asking.
Yeah.
It was, please don't ever feel weird asking us a question, because that's what our job is we want to answer those questions. We want you to have success, because it's no fun for anybody if,
I mean,
if it's not coming out
the
well.
first time I went into a quilt shop and asked somebody for help, I was like, well, I'm never doing that again.
Right. It is not like that here. Call, ask questions. We're absolutely here. The thing about stabilizer is it can be overwhelming. But it really breaks down to just doing what makes sense. And so if you start understanding what each type of stabilizer does, then you can start
makes more
actually
sense.
answering your own questions too,
Yeah.
which is always nice.
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing when you go, I did that.
Yes.
And it went right. So it's such a great feeling for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to sign up for retreat if you have been kind of holding back. The numbers are moving, so we want to make sure that you have a seat if you want it, so don't wait too long to sign up for that. You don't have to stay at the hotel. You certainly can, but it's definitely available for you to commute in if you would like to do that. You can leave all of your things, and they will be in a locked room, so you don't have to worry about your stuff. So definitely have some fun with that, and you don't have to have the expense of the hotel as well.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so stabilizer's fun. It doesn't have to be scary. Print out the cards, ask some questions, and have some fun.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging. Bye.